All right, today we're diving into Egypt, a place our source material paints as a land of incredible contrasts. I mean, think about it. You've got these ancient 4,500-year-old mysteries standing right next to the crazy energy of a modern megastate. So yeah, we're going to unpack that whole story from the ancient wonders all the way to what life is like there today.
And let's just start with the biggest question of them all, one our source throws right at us. How on earth did they build the pyramids? We're talking about structures that are over 4,500 years old, built with a precision that still, to this day, baffles scientists. Seriously, how did they do it? This one single puzzle is really the key to unlocking Egypt's absolutely mind-blowing legacy.
So let's start our journey by looking at where Egypt actually is on the map, because its location is everything. It's this incredible bridge, right? A nation that literally sits at the crossroads of Africa and Asia. You've got Sudan to the south, Israel to the east, and the Mediterranean Sea up top. Just being in that spot, that alone has made it a major player in world history for thousands of years.
And of course, when you think Egypt, you think pharaohs, right? You just can't separate them. Their legacy, it is literally carved in stone. We're talking about monuments so massive, so grand, that they still make us question everything we think we know about what was possible back in the ancient world. And the sheer scale of it all is just, wow, it's staggering. Most of us, we picture the three big pyramids at Giza. But our source points out, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Across all of Egypt, they've found 118 pyramids. 118. This wasn't some one-off building project. This was a core practice of their civilization that went on for centuries.
So why build them? What was the point of all this? Well, according to the source, it's pretty clear. These were way more than just monuments to a king's power. Take the Great Pyramid of Khufu. It was designed to be a vessel for the afterlife, an eternal home built to protect the pharaoh's body so his soul could make its journey to the next world. All that genius engineering, all that backbreaking labor, it was all in service of a deeply held spiritual belief.
And the engineering was so ridiculously advanced that it's hard to wrap your head around. Our source even notes that the mystery is so deep. How do you move these massive stones with such incredible precision 45 centuries ago that it fuels all kinds of speculation? We're talking theories that go way beyond your standard history textbook, right into the realm of, aliens.
And you know what? That mystery, that awe, it's timeless. This number really drives it home. The source gives us a pretty powerful modern stat. Just this year, almost 16 million people, 15.7 million, traveled from every corner of the globe just to see them in person. It's incredible. The magic of the pharaohs is just as strong today as it ever was.
But here's the thing. Ancient Egypt wasn't just built on stone and sand. It was built on water. So let's turn to what is, without a doubt, the single most important feature of the entire country, the Nile River. It's the lifeblood. Honestly, without the Nile, none of those pyramids, none of that incredible history, none of it would have ever happened.
Now, what's fascinating is that the Nile is really a story of two rivers coming together. Our source explains that it's not just one single source. You've got the Blue Nile and the White Nile, starting in completely different parts of Africa. They travel all that way and finally meet up in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. And it's there that they merge to become the one mighty Nile that we all know, the one that carves its path right through the Egyptian desert.
And just look at that number, almost 6,700 kilometers long. That makes it the longest river on the entire planet. And you have to remember, in a country that's mostly just arid desert, a river like this isn't just a river, it's everything. For centuries, its yearly floods would drop this incredibly rich, fertile silt on the banks, creating this perfect green ribbon of life. It's what allowed a whole civilization to just explode and thrive against all odds.
The Nile's importance goes way beyond just farming, though. It's deeply woven into the spiritual heart of the nation. The source shares this really powerful story from early Islamic history. The tale goes that the river had run dry, so the Caliph Umar actually wrote a letter to the river itself, commanding it to flow. And it worked. The riverbed filled with water. It's a story that really shows you just how long the Nile has been seen as a true gift from God.
Okay, so from that ancient, life-giving river, our source takes us on a jump forward, right into the heart of Egypt's faith and history today, the massive, sprawling city of Cairo. This city is basically a living, breathing museum of Islamic civilization.
And Cairo is just packed with these incredible, iconic sites. You've got the huge medieval fortress, Saladin's Citadel, then there's Al-Azhar University, which has been a major center of learning for over 1,000 years. And look,
These aren't just pretty places for tourists to take pictures. They represent centuries upon centuries of faith, of brilliant scholarship, of bustling trade, all the things that have shaped the very soul of the city.
All right, so now we're going to make a pretty big shift. The source moves away from history and starts looking at the here and now, at modern Egyptian life. And I just want to be really clear here. What's coming up is the specific viewpoint, the social perspective that's presented in the material we're looking at.
So the commentary starts with this really interesting cultural observation. The source makes a connection between the notable beauty of the Egyptian people and a kind of spiritual heritage. It ties it back to the prophet Yusuf, who you might know as Joseph from the Bible, a figure who in Islamic tradition is famous for his extraordinary beauty.
But then, the tone shifts pretty dramatically to a more critical take on modern society. The source points out a few things: the widespread use of shisha, or hookah, a growing nightlife scene with dance clubs and alcohol, and what it describes as inappropriate clothing for women, along with high divorce rates. Now, within the source itself, these things are all presented as signs of what it calls a moral decline.
But it's not all critique. The source also paints this really vibrant picture of everyday culture. It talks about the incredible food, right? From koshari, which is this beloved national dish, to the simple tradition of families going out to eat together at night. This is still a society where traditions are alive and well, whether it's sharing a strong kawa or coffee after a meal, or celebrating big moments like weddings with belly dancing.
So where does that leave us? When you put it all together, the picture our source material paints is of a nation really defined by this powerful tension. On one hand, you've got this deep, deep respect for an incredible sacred past. And on the other hand, you have a present that the source is looking at with a very critical eye.
And this really sums up that two-sided coin perfectly. On one side, you have this absolutely awe-inspiring legacy, a history filled with prophets, pharaohs, and brilliant scholars. And on the other side, you have the source's view of modern Egypt, a society that it believes is grappling with some serious moral challenges. It is a really, really stark contrast.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's just ground this all in some hard numbers. We're talking about a country of 110 million people. That makes Egypt the 15th most populous country on the planet. And its capital, Cairo, well, it's a true megacity, with almost 22 million people living there. Those numbers just give you a sense of the massive scale of the modern nation, where all these forces, the ancient and the new, are clashing and mixing every single day.
And that brings us to the final big question that this whole journey really raises. For a country with a past this deep, this monumental, how does that history shape what's happening right now? The relationship between its incredible legacy and its very complex present is a story that's still being written. Which leaves us with the ultimate question: who gets to define what comes next?